And okay, and we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 50th episode of Global Citizens. My name is Calvin. I am the show's host, and I'm also its creator. Okay, so for those of you who have watched my show before, you would know that I actually would interview people with multicultural backgrounds, such as, for example, a third culture kid, a digital nomad, and of course, an expat. There's actually a fourth category that I don't mention quite often, and that relates to a speaker. And for this particular gentleman, I will definitely see him in the long run of going for international stages, being invited to different parts of the world to share his knowledge and experience. But to me, why he is actually on this show is because this man is somebody who I owe a lot of gratitude for, as he actually inspired the very creation of this show. I've invited several individuals before who has inspired me in one way or another, but this is the main man who actually started it. So I will call him the Green Lantern of content creation. The
Okay.
reason being is that in his regular day job, he's a psychiatric nurse in
Mhm.
Singapore. And whereas for his other job, he is actually the creator of the famous podcast, The Raygacy Show, which has interviewed multiple titans of entrepreneurship, such as Gary Vee, Grant
Mhm.
Cardone, Paul Getter, and many, many more. Along with that, he is also a transformation catalyst, and he is a coach to multiple entrepreneurs who would love to learn from his wisdom that he acquired from such famous individuals. So please welcome Mr. Rayson Choo to Global Citizens. So Rayson, how are you, buddy?
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'm doing great, man. I really appreciate, the uh kind offer to actually get me onto your podcast. I really appreciate it. It's my honor and pleasure to be here.
All right. All right, buddy. If you don't mind, maybe you can share with us a little bit more. The thing is I've known you for now around 2 years. I
Yep.
actually watch quite a lot of content, and of course, I know you quite well. But the thing is
Okay.
that for those who is watching this for the first time, maybe they want to get to know you a little bit more.
Sure. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Rayson Choo, and like what Kelvin has mentioned, yes, I am a psychiatric nurse in the day. Okay, but on the side, I am doing something much more different from the other nurses or even the other healthcare industry workers. So what I do is that I pick the brains of the best entrepreneurs around the world. Okay, people like Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, Paul Getter, and many more. All right, so there's a wealth of entrepreneurs, celebrities that has already came on board the podcast, and they have gave us immensely amount of value bombs that I'm really really grateful for. So yeah, so this is something that I've been doing, and also it's on another another hand. Another hand is that I am also doing. I'm also coaching. Okay, so I coach people on how to grow their mindset, elevate their brand, and also at the same time associate themselves with people that are of a higher stature, how they can actually network, connect, and collaborate with all of them.
All right. Okay. Rayson, do you
Yeah.
mind telling us what makes you want to pursue this journey? Because the thing is that first off, I need to give a shout out and a thank you to those within the medical industry now. As you all know, we all are in the midst of corona epidemic. We all are stuck
Mm-hmm.
at home,
Yes.
and while nowadays I think it's the some areas are dwindling down. I mean, like my father just got out a few minutes ago wearing a face mask just to jog. So
Okay.
okay, that's interesting. But the thing is that nowadays we are stuck at home, and there's those within the medical industry who is on the front line battling this epidemic. And for your case, being a psychiatric nurse, it's definitely not an easy work hour. It's a shift-based work. It can be
Mm-hmm.
incredibly exhausting.
Yeah.
So, what makes you want to pursue it from a job that is incredibly time straining, and now
Mm-hmm.
you want to create a podcast for in order to give value to those who is watching it.
Well, I believe this has always been something that I believe I should be doing in terms of like inspiring others. because I was actually down and out in the year 2014. Okay, so just a little backstory of what happened and what led me to actually go towards this realm of podcasting and etc. So basically, what happened was in the year 2014, I had a pretty much of a setback, okay, which I didn't expect because I thought coming out from nursing, I could go anywhere I want, do whatever I want in terms of nursing. However, okay, um, however, I actually made this really important jump and this really important step that caused me to fumble and fall. And I'm thankful that back then I made this mistake and I learned from it. So what mistake was this was that, I actually went instead of going towards the normal route of every nurses that they would have gone, and that was to a government hospital to work and gain experience. I actually went to a private sector instead. So I went to the private uh, kind of Japanese clinic to work. And I only got there for about a few months and then that's it. Uh, I didn't call it quit, not because it was tough. In fact, everything was pretty easy, like the things that are being shared. Okay, the thing was this: my my issue was that I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't focus because I had a very bad toxic relationship with my ex-girlfriend in the past, and we would be quarreling almost every single week, and it's always over small little stuff. And I thought to myself, hey, you know what? If let's say I were to actually go and do something about it, like go and uh, work on myself and etc. I think it could be done, right? So, but I was still procrastinating until one final day that the quarrel was so immense that I decided to call it quit as well. So, right after I have this job where I was being laid off, okay, I told myself that, hey, you know what? Um, I'm not sure what to do. So God just lead me through, and then somehow or rather, He led me to overcome this relationship, and that is to end it off. So we broke up. Okay, so it's like Murphy's laws acting on me, right? Loss of finance, loss of income, loss of my job, okay, and then loss of my love, which I thought it was really true love, right? So somehow or rather, I stumbled upon this opportunity, right? Whereby I told myself that, I want to become better than who I was in the last few months of the previous months of 2014. And then guess what? You know, I happened to join a network marketing company because my army friend told me that it was a very good kind of like opportunity to grow and to learn. And I thought it is something that I should be doing, right? And the opportunity that they have stated was pretty good. And by no means I wasn't in any of these network marketing companies that Gabriel Wong or anyone that has mentioned before. I wasn't in that league yet. Okay, but I was in there, and just nice they had this gathering, and they went on to have this movie, right? So we were watching this Marvel movie. I think should be um, Avengers or something like that. And then during that period of time, there was this advertisement. Okay, it was about teaching or coaching, something like this. So somehow or other, it struck me. It was like, wow, this was something that I really want to do, man. I mean, I knew that I could be motivational in a sense when I was younger. I could, just say certain things, but yet I still have low self-esteem at many times during that period of time. So I told myself that, hey, I think this is it, man. This is something that I want. And guess what? When I reach home, turn on Facebook, and then I happen to see my ex-secondary schoolmate who used to be a bad boy in school giving motivational talks. And I was like, damn, this is the thing, man. This is the thing that I really want to do. And the next thing that I did was to go and reach out to him through Facebook, and then he led me to his mentor. Okay, um, and that was the journey where it all started in terms of speaking, giving motivation, personal development, and etc. And of course, I told myself that in the next 5 years, I'm going to be way more successful than who I was in 2014. And um, during that period of time, I was reading excessively because I was inspired by Tai Lopez. He said a very important thing, and that is to read as much as possible so that you can grow as much as possible. So the more you learn, the more you earn. Okay. So I told myself that, okay, so this is something that I am going to do. And that's how I chance upon uh, this podcast called Addicted to Success. Okay, so Addicted to Success was the pivotal point of time where it inspired me to grow and become a better me. And that was how I decided to, want to have a podcast, which I was dreaming about it. And it only occurred to me that, it really worked out only in the year 2017. That's where I decided to go plunge in. I have no clue. I didn't go through any podcasting classes. I've not known anyone that does podcasting in Singapore other than listening to Joel Brown's Addicted to Success, who is uh, based in Australia, right? But
Australia.
but right now he's in Bali. So somehow or other, I am really fortunate to chance upon his podcast, and that's where I saw him with people like Tony Robbins, Gerard Adams, people like so many of them, right? All these gurus and speakers and entrepreneurs and etc. So I told myself, hey, I want to do something like that, but I have no clue what is it going to be like, right? So in 2017, I jumped onto this opportunity of trying out, Facebook Live, and then using Facebook Live, like what you're doing now, to interview entrepreneurs and to interview people that are much more successful than who I was.
Yep.
So somehow or other, I went through that process, and that was a pain in the ass for me at that point of time because I did not know what was the team going to be like. I thought it's going to be something like like recommending authors and their books, which is what I did for the first episode, and then I realized that scrap it. I think it's going to be way better because I realized that hey, my Facebook has entrepreneurs, has um, speakers, has investors, and all this kind of stuff. Why not I lump them up together and then offer it to my audience as a package that people get to see, hey, this guy can actually go and interview this person, and that's not my profession. I'm not a news anchor, I'm not any of this radio DJ, but I'm able to actually go and speak to these people and tell them to share their story and etc. to my audience. And that was pretty crazy. That was pretty amazing. It was a really amazing journey when people like Dr. Patrick Liu, uh, Gary V, Grant Cardone, Paul Getter, and even so many others that came, and there are those that are coming on board as well. So yeah, so those are the things that have made me feel like wow, this is an opportunity, man. And that's how I actually got to. I'm really grateful that how I got to inspire so many other people to actually start their own podcasts or even their own interview sessions with any of their idols or their loved ones that they really admire in terms of their niche and etc. And that's how it all began, man. That's how the Raygacy show started off. And even though, man, look at me, I am not those super handsome, good looking dude with super straight teeth. No, I'm not. But yet, I'm still able to go and get all these people to come onto the podcast, not because I, bribe them or even like pay them to come onto my podcast, but because I know how to actually build relationships with them, and I know how to ensure that I do not come as someone that is a manipulative person that get them onto the podcast.
Yep. Okay. When I first met you at that time, you were on episode 36, if I'm not mistaken. It was Surya's episode at that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember it quite well. I believe at that time, I also met Colin at a nearby timing, and I saw one of his recent
Okay.
posts at the time. Gary just came to your show. At that time was episode 29.
Yep,
Yeah.
correct. It was 29.
All right. You have picked the brains from some of the most known entrepreneurs in social media in the world today, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
you actually, this is something that we actually discussed last time. You actually also enroll in entrepreneurship classes in Singapore.
Yep.
So you have acquired the knowledge from both the western and the eastern side for entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
right? So how
Yes.
do you think the ideology actually differs, and how have you actually applied it?
Okay. So basically, in my opinion, the similarities are way more than the differences, in my opinion, because uh, all these entrepreneurs from Singapore, from any of these Asian countries, will go and learn from the Westerners, and then they will get their ideas, and then they will mix it up like as if we are eating a rojak, okay, which is a famous dish in Singapore and Malaysia and other parts of the Southeast Asian countries, right? So what I learned is that, as much as the diversity is, right, they all will go and ensure that they learn from other culture as well, because they want to know more about what are the other countries doing, what they need, what are they lacking of, okay? And that's where, this question popped up to me when I was interviewing Grant Cardone before we started the whole podcast.
My friend of
And
mine is actually a big fan of his, and in fact, he
oh,
applies his sales method exactly. And he
okay.
actually enrolled in, he actually bought a lot of his resources, and this is why I actually noticed something really interesting. Is because the
Mm-hmm.
thing where Grant is that I noticed he can be quite aggressive in his style, but the thing is that it
Yeah.
worked in Asia, which is actually a lot more passive, I guess, in terms of personality. So this is actually quite interesting on that.
Yeah, I mean, like Westerners, they are more open, they are more aggressive in a sense, open inverted comma aggressive. They're not too aggressive, but of course, when it comes to really going getting the sales done, I've seen them doing it, and it's the same as what other Asian entrepreneurs will be doing as well. Like off on the stage closing and all this kind of stuff. They all use the similar techniques. They all use a similar kind of strategy to get people to get hooked onto that item, and then after that get to uh, you know get hooked by the bonuses as well, and the price drop and etc. All this kind of stuff is something that I find that these are the techniques that they have done. And of course, when it comes to the millionaires and the billionaires, when it comes to non-speakers, their way of doing things, they're also similar as well. They also want to build relationships. They also want to learn more about the other party, about the other country, about the other culture before they actually dive deep into doing businesses. It's just like how Grant Cardone, when he first came to, enjoy the life of his time in Singapore in Marina Bay Sands, he was also trying to figure out what is something that is needed by Singaporeans, and how come those people who are living the lavish lifestyle are not doing similar things as him, and they are more passive in Singapore in a sense, right? You never know which coffee shop uncle, yeah, are the ones who are living in Dakota, and they are having like five, six sports cars in their garage, right? No one knows, right? Until you go there, you go and experience yourself, you realize that, oh wow, this is their life, man. This is their house. This is their way of lifestyle. And and certain people in the West, they are also passive. Like they love to be
Yeah.
low profile, and you never know that so many billionaires in other parts of the world, they are so low profile that no one knows. Only those people in their niche will know them, or their customers will know them, or their employees will know them, except for. They, or except for the media and etc. So I truly believe, right, in my perspective, like the differences, there are not many. Probably in terms of the government, the laws in businesses and etc. There might be some differences, but
And
as a whole,
population. Yeah.
yeah, population and of course the mindset, but of course the mindset right now, because we are much oversaturated. Everyone are getting information from Facebook lives, from private groups, from so many other places. So the amount of information that's given to them, they are all mixed. So somehow or rather, it is something that I believe, it is worth to learn from these people. It's worth to
Yep.
learn from these people that either they are very aggressively on social media, putting a lot of ads, or those people who are just being passive, and yet they're still multimillionaires, and yet they're still able to live the lifestyle that you've always wanted, right? So there are so many different types of people out there which you can learn from. And what I've applied from this is that, I've learned from their causes, or even their their mentality, their mindset, and then I apply them and I use it on my life, and it worked magnificently well. Like literally, like the way that I have been handling my job, and also at the same time able to go and do all this kind of stuff, like, it's massive. Like people were asking me, how do you balance out your time? How do you manage your time super well? How are you able to have night shift, and then after that you still can have an interview with Calvin, and then after that, all this kind of stuff. So I find that it is something that you need to actually really go and juggle with. And what I learned from all these people, be it the Easterners, the Westerners, or whatever, I realized that, you know they all believe that time is a value, is an asset for them. And it's not a commodity, but it's more of an asset. So you need to know how to make full use of that 80,000 plus seconds in your life, for day one to day date. Okay, the day when you are dead. Okay, so that's why it is very important that you need to know how to play with your time, and also at the same time how you can inspire the masses, how you can impact the masses. Probably people that's watching this video right now, they are lost, right? And they needed some inspiration, and there we have it. You have your own show on third culture kids. You have your own show on people who are going through certain struggles, and they are able to share their experiences with
Yep.
your audience, right? With your
Yep.
Facebook friends, with your Facebook friends, and you never know who will be inspired, or maybe your ex guests that came on board the podcast have actually been watching this show, just that they have been passively not liking, not commenting, and anything, and yet they are still getting information, absorbing as much as possible. So yeah, so
Yep.
these are the things that I've learned. And one last thing that I've learned was that they are all action takers rather than just a procrastinator. Okay, so they
Yep.
are action takers. Okay, not saying that you can't procrastinate. Yes, you can, but you need to know when is the right. I would say the time. Okay, the right time. Okay, for you to procrastinate, and for you to actually strategize a bit, plan a bit, and then move and go forward, act on it, plan, act on it, strategize, act on it, and etc. Right. So this is something that I've learned over the years, these 3 years of interviewing the best entrepreneurs around the world. And of course, I've also learned that implementing is the hardest. But start, once you get started, like you lighting the matchstick, somehow or rather, slowly and surely, that actions that you have taken will guide you towards the necessary results that you've always wanted.
I can personally attest to that. When I first started this show, I was
Mhm.
using my current laptop actually, but the thing is that the quality sucks so
Okay.
badly. And at that time, because I have a tan skin and my guest is from Beirut, Lebanon, so of course, I'm
Uh-huh.
not trying to be racist, but the thing is because I have a poor camera quality, I have a poor audio quality, and both of us have like a darker skin tone. So can you imagine? It's just like a dark shadows buzzing around to try to create noise. That's actually in my
Okay.
first episode, guys. It's something that I proudly say, and I apologize to my guests at that time, Jacques, several times. Is because that one is something that he's really proud of, and the thing is that well, it was just a dark clump of sound. So it was really embarrassing. And after that, I start using this software that I'm using, StreamYard. There's actually going to be a referral link in the description box, guys.
Okay.
So yeah, this is actually what we use a lot of times. Is because when after I got through that first one,
Mm-hmm.
I keep on continuing it, and to the point that now I'm on my 50th. So I
Yep.
can personally attest to what Rayson say on this. Okay,
Okay. Nice.
okay. So as a psychiatric nurse, you handle more on the mental aspects of the body as compared to the physical side, right? And
Mhm.
at the same time, you need to deal with the different ideology, teachings, and of course, because even though entrepreneurs from the east or the western part of the world, while they might, as what you mentioned, they might have some differences. There's also a lot
Yep.
more similarity, but at the same time, they
Yes.
all have different experiences. So they
Mm-hmm.
will teach you different methods on how you can operate, right?
Yep.
So
Correct.
with regards to this, is how important do you feel is mental and spiritual development as compared to just building the knowledge on itself? So maybe I can put it in a certain context here. So you and I have actually had quite some similar experiences when we were younger,
Okay.
from
Okay.
network marketing to even where
Mm-hmm.
we used to work.
Yep.
So if you recall, we used to work at an institution that teach public
Mm-hmm.
speaking
Yep.
for a certain young age group,
Mm-hmm.
and the management is not exactly what is to the point of a, let's say we can use the word tyrant. Let's say we
Okay.
use that word. Because if you remember what happened was at that time, uh, there wasn't any support that is given to you. They just give you a classroom, they bring in
Mm-hmm.
the students, and you are expected to do some selling. And after, as a result, that wasn't a really pleasant experience for you. It's because at that time you want to educate somebody, but the thing is that is what makes you give you a sense of fulfillment. But the thing
Okay.
is that the institution itself is more focused on money making. So as a result, you feel a bit demoralized by that. So what is your take on this? Do you feel that the untouched aspects of entrepreneurship, like for example customer service, or even the entrepreneurs' mental development themselves, do you think this is as much as importance as the more visible skill?
Well, I definitely believe that, all of these aspects are intertwined, they're linked. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Is that when it comes to the mental, emotional aspect of the employees or the entrepreneurs, for example, if let's say they are not mentally healthy in a sense, then all the more their physical will be affected. And then all the more their mindset will be affected as well. So their mindset will be affected, their physical will then be affected. And then, not just that, the way they portray themselves out there to their potential clients will be affected as well. And then
Yep.
everything will be a downslide if they are not wary about their mental health, like they are not self-aware, and then they kept causing a lot of making a lot of problems and keep you know causing themselves to be even like hurt in a sense, right? So it's very important to actually look at not just the physical aspect, like whether you have diabetes, whether you have good diet and all this kind of stuff, but I believe you need to look at it as a whole. Even for an entrepreneur, you have to look at a whole. You don't just focus on the strategy, but you do not have the foundation. If you have a foundation but you do not have a good strategy, then all the more it will be fail, right? It will plunge to the
Yep.
bottom in terms of the way that you do things, right? So I truly believe that you need to actually go and dive deep inside yourself first. You need to go deep inside the mentality, the spirituality of you, and then slowly you can then rise up towards where you want to go, and then also at the same time ensuring that you having a system that can help your own clients, your own business to rise up, to grow. And especially in this period of time, this is something that you need to really go and dive deep in. Why are you doing this? Why are you going towards this niche? Why are you selling this kind of stuff? And etc. etc. And then from there, then you know, okay, so this is what I need to do. And then after that, that's where you know the what and how and the and etc. So yeah, so this is something that I believe that you need to really encompass in yourself before you embark in your entrepreneurship journey or even any form of journey that you want to go.
Okay. All right. This is actually not a hidden fact. This is something that all your
Okay.
followers on social media have actually seen before. You and
Okay.
I are actually big fans of wrestling. So the
Okay.
thing is, and I think WWE Hall of Famer Shawn Michael has said it before.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about how good your audience sounds to you; it's how loud they are. So as you appear, and the louder they are, whether it's a cheer or a boo, means you have
Mm-hmm.
done a good job.
Yeah.
So my question based on this is this. Okay, so this happened, I think, at that time when I was in my, I think it was halfway to my 50th episode.
Okay.
So at that time, I actually have a former colleague of mine. And the thing is that I've never had the most pleasant working experience with him. I don't hate him personally, and he has nothing
Okay.
against me personally, but
All right.
just that we have two very differing personality because I tend to be a bit more to myself, whereas he is somebody who is incredibly loud, very cheerful kind of person. But
Yeah.
the thing with him is that when I see him is that he can be really misguided. It's because he can follow mentors that might
Mm-hmm.
not give him something that truly benefit him. It's just that it is more towards ensuring that by doing what the mentor says is to produce money.
Mm-hmm.
So there was once that he actually all of a sudden out of the blue he texted me. He asked me, "Hey bro, can I
Okay.
appear on your show?" So I asked him, "You don't have any kind of international experience. Why would you want to appear on my show?" And why
Okay.
I'm surprised when he said that was because when he told me that he doesn't watch the show at first, is because
Mm-hmm.
the show is too long, according to him. So after
Your
that,
show is what?
to him the show is too long, too long. That's
Too
why he
long.
doesn't like it.
Okay.
Second, when he was on the show, when he requested to be on the show, because he's actually in real estate. So he thought, oh, bro, the thing is I noticed you have a lot of people who watch this show and a lot of people who come to my show are foreigners. I want to introduce them to property markets in Singapore. So I was really offended by that. It's because first, you don't even know me. You know what I'm doing, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Second, you offended what I was doing. You don't even know it. And three, you
Mm-hmm.
want to appear just to take advantage of this kind
Yep.
of thing, just because it benefits you personally. So
Mm-hmm.
my question to you is this: how important do you feel is that naysayers or even people like to call the term haters in
Mm-hmm.
the development of your social media personality actually, and how do you handle it from ever getting into unnecessary feud or hatred?
Well, I believe, I wouldn't say that I have unnecessary feud or anything with anyone, okay? But of course, I do have known I do know of certain of my haters or certain kind of people that are pretty much not attuned to what I do. Okay,
Yeah,
somehow rather, so for example, right, I have one person that I know of. Okay, and he used to be a huge follower of the Raygacy show.
yep,
Okay, ironically, okay, it all started off with following the Raygacy show, and then after that, there's a point where I I thought I could impact him. I thought I I had this belief, right, that I could impact his life and go and make him be a better person. And I didn't expect that he was uncoachable. At first, the first few sessions, he was like, "Hoo, yeah, let's do this." And while I was on trip in Bangkok, I was still, having calls with this person, taking some time out just to coach him, right? And I thought he would be appreciative, and I believe he did. He was just that, I gave him too much tough love, I believe, because of sudden slackiness and laziness and kind of stuff. And it got me to a point where I got to be I got to be upfront with you that I made some mistakes as a coach, right? Whereby I was still pretty new in this whole coaching stuff, and somehow rather, we were in a same WhatsApp group, and somehow rather I was like uh, bombing him in a sense whenever he was saying certain things about, hey, can you help me, can you do this for me on the WhatsApp group itself. And he has like 10 plus people, which includes certain entrepreneurs, certain inspirational speakers as well. And some of them, they know my style. They know that I'm not those kind of who likes to backstab and all. But of course, because of this guy, right, he twisted and turned certain things because of some misunderstanding that I had with another friend of mine, which he knows that person, and he's a good pal with that friend of mine, that we had some issues, some misunderstanding, and I made some mistakes as well. And yeah, somehow or other, it just went off to an extent where he became good pals with the so-called buddies, good friends that I had in my own terms, because I used to be with them. We always go to seminars together. We always hang out together. And now, this guy is hanging out with these guys more than I do, and yeah, I find that whenever you are actually going through the process of growth, or whenever you are rising, okay, towards stardom or whatsoever you call that, okay, there will be people who are jealous of you, okay, who are fearful of you, okay, because they are fearful that you're gonna take over their spotlight, okay. Or there are even people who are just pure haters, right? But they pretend to wear sheepskin, okay, and then they say, hey, you rock, I love your stuff, blah 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 blah. And then suddenly, when certain things go offhand, okay, and they somehow know that this guy, okay, is or this girl is more influential than you, is more of value to them than this person right here, then all the more they will go and befriend these people, as compared to the person that is of value to them. So I felt that somehow or rather some people might have taken advantage of my niceness, where I gave them opportunities, like even um, gave them the opportunity to be interviewed by someone, okay, who is of a prestigious stature, and then next moment, uh, you know, they did their best to sell me their stuff, and when things don't go off right, the good hand, somehow rather, it goes offhand, and people see it as a negative, and they just wanted to, you know, as much as possible, uh, give you some warning and give you some kind of threat and all this kind of stuff, even though you are just trying to prove a point, right? That there's certain things that they have to improve, they have to change, they have to look at before they just look at the whole message itself, and look at it as a context. So how I actually went on to overcome this, was just plain simple, and that is to tell myself that success is going to be the best revenge, okay, to these people. Of course, I know there will be times that they are going to be more successful than me, even though there's certain point of time when we feel that, hey man, come on, it's not nice. You see, they are not of a certain people are not of a good person or good characteristics, good personality, and yet they are getting the accolades, they're getting this and that. But somehow or rather, you realize that hey, this is how life is working, man. It's just like how laws of attraction or whatever. They are focusing on the future. They are focusing on their bonuses, their rewards, their products, their services, and blah blah blah. And there you are always thinking about the past and all. That's why when you are always stuck at the past, then all the more you will fail. You will be affected. You'll be triggered. You will not be able to rise up as much as these people that hates you,
Yep.
right? And you never know who are the ones who dislike you, right? There are people who are maybe like the Grant Cardone versus the Jordan Belfort kind of stuff. Look at Grant
Yeah.
Cardone; he has haters, right? There are people in Singapore who knows that I follow him. One of them even like messaged me, hey, I'm going to unfollow Grant Cardone because and I might even unfollow you because you follow Grant Cardone, and then and when I asked why do you want to unfollow me, because oh you follow Grant Cardone, but that doesn't make sense, right? But then after that, he asked me, hey, who are the top three people that I follow other than Grant Cardone and Gary Vee? Then I told him Brandon Burchard, and he's like, okay, his mouth was shut because he knows Brandon Burchard is of a legally legitimate guy who doesn't use any tactics to declare bankruptcy and all this kind of stuff, but he does have the value that he has, and he is someone that I look upon. And even like Russell Brunson, or even people like Nathan Chen, Omar Ilata, and all these other people that I look up to, Joel Brown, and all these other people. Yeah, all these people they are not like the wolves and the fox, right?
Yep.
They are someone that are really like the leopard, the cheetah, the lion, the the
The kings
eagle.
of the jungle.
Yeah, they are, right? So that's why I believe, whatever other people's opinion have on you, unless if it's constructive, unless it's really something that will benefit you, otherwise, you don't listen to them, or you just treat it as a opinion, just a cloud passing through your brain, and that's it, right? So yeah, so this is something that I've learned that I need to really go and overcome this. And because of that the past that I mentioned earlier, right?
Yep.
I was devastated, right? I was really upset with myself because I made some mistakes, and also at the same time I was upset that that person actually went on to sprout nonsense and add uh, add some truth, and then together with some salt, with some pepper, with some mayonnaise, with some whatever to make it even look uh,
Like a
astonishingly good,
legitimate life.
like
Like
yeah, yeah, it
legitimate
looks like a legitimate foul, okay, but instead it's a virus or even a spyware or Trojan that is being inserted into your brain, into your mind to say that it is truth. So that's
life.
why I felt very I felt very upset at that point of time. And during that period of time when I was being invited and nominated for Generation Grid award last year for the Straits Times Generation Grid Award, I was
Funny you should mention that. I'm sorry, I cannot give a voting for you because at that time,
uh-huh,
there's actually one of my former senior who is
uh-huh,
he's actually not my senior in a sense. It's because
okay,
he is actually from the same secondary school as I am, so I am quite
okay,
attached to my alma mater. So when I saw his name and then
no
I
worries.
saw yours, I'm like, goodness gracious, I cannot, I don't want to give a voting to the two of you. I'm
Okay,
sorry on
understand.
that.
No
Yeah.
worries, no worries. So yeah, so I was down and out. I didn't show it much, but of course, when the reporters were asking me questions, I just didn't want to answer, right? I was that affected. I couldn't believe that is happening to me until it really struck me that hey, instead of going so down and out, why not make a change? I can't change what has happened. I can't change that person's mouth. I can't change the person's mind from believing any one of them, right? So why not work on myself, improve on myself, and you know let success talk, make the noise, rather than, whoever wants to say anything bad about me or negative about me. And moreover, I have people who are supporting me consistently, like you and those people in the tribe of Raygacy. So yeah, so why not, just focus on the future and the now and the future rather than so much on the past, which we can't turn back time, which we can't jump in a time machine and say, okay, I learned this mistake. Okay, I'm going to go back in time and then I'm going to redo the whole thing. And then whatever he said, whatever I said, we're going to make sure that, it's not like this. We can't do that anymore. So, and yeah, so yeah, this is something that I believe all of you can actually learn to how you can overcome these setbacks.
I actually take it as like a check mark in the sense is because when I
Mm-hmm.
saw that there are people who try to stab me or text or maybe they try to take advantage of me. To me, it's like, hey, that means what I'm doing is working. I'm getting
Yeah,
attention. Hooray! To me, that was
yeah.
like a check mark in a sense. So it's like, at that time, I want to put it on my
Mm-hmm.
story, but the thing is that I just find it like, okay, look, it's just my personal milestone. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to, because at the end of the day, I can't blame him for wanting to think that he can just use my platform in order to sell products, because
Mm-hmm.
his industry is not an easy thing. So I think he's just trying to do it. But I don't hate him. I don't dislike him. But yeah, at that time it was something that I was really irritated by because I work
Mm-hmm.
hard in order to
Yeah,
do this. I mean,
correct.
I'm the one person doing it, guys. I don't have like an entire support team. And the thing is that this show that I created is something that I do it on my own.
Yep,
All right.
correct.
Okay. And to build up on your earlier point, yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I actually learned this from one of your past guests. I can't remember who it is. I'll try to remember it. The importance of collaboration as compared to competition.
Oh yeah,
So,
that's Lisa Clank.
oh, shout out
Yeah.
to Miss Lisa Klein. Okay. Okay. So, how important do you feel is humility, not only in collaboration, but also in everyday life? The thing is because when we get to a certain point in our life, we got complacent, we got lazy. Then, as a result, we don't we don't properly work on something. Like for example,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times maybe I've been able to ask all my guests to come to my show is
Yep.
because like what you actually practice. I think is because
Mm-hmm.
I've never I don't pay them. I don't really do anything to actually ask them beyond genuinely asking them is that, hi, would you like to come to my show? This is what I do and why I actually do this. So other than that, there's nothing extra to it. I
Mm-hmm.
have them on my show. So yeah, what's your take on this on humility?
Well, I believe humility is something that is needed for this humanity, for
Yep.
everyone right now. I mean, like, seriously, everyone is going through a pandemic, and
Yeah.
everyone is going through a fearful life. I mean, many of us, probably in the whole population of the human race, probably about 75 to 80% of them are living in fear. I believe the same amount of people who are living in fear are the amount of people that are also, you know, pretty much affected because of their work. They lost their jobs, they lost their businesses. They
Yep.
once were part of the 10%, 20%, and now they are dropping towards the 80%, 75, 80% kind of population. So I
Yep.
believe, yeah, so I believe, humility is something that is really, really needed in this society right now because somehow or other, not everyone are kinder to people. They are not as generous to one another as we should be. Probably this
Yep.
is like the time where God or the universe or the earth is saying, Mother Earth is saying, hey, you know what? I created you to, or you evolved, okay, depending on which belief system these people that are tuning in right now, that are watching and listening to this, how they apprehend it. So you are being created and evolved, okay, to be somebody that is helping this earth to exist even longer. But somehow or other, we are doing so much damage so that we can gain more for ourselves than for others, right? So
Yep.
that's why I believe, even though we are the most powerful beings on this planet Earth, somehow or other, I believe that, collaboration with others is lacking in the whole entire ecosystem right now. Like literally,
Yep.
even though
Yep.
we have this pandemic and we are encouraging people to have this collaborative mindset, somehow or other, there are still people who are still having the competitive mindset and the survival
Yep.
mindset. So that's why they can't thrive in this ecosystem as much as those who are collaborating with one another. Remember, we are social beings. We are not anti-social beings, okay? We are social
Yep.
beings who are supposed to help one another. And that's why whenever we help one another without expecting much in return, we are the most joyous person ever alive. All right, so that's why even though when you are giving out things for free, it's like adding value to other people and adding your brand some value as well. I still believe that it is necessary that you look at people as your collaborator than just a competitor. Because if you
Yep.
look at as a competitor, you are always fighting for the pie. But if you are able to share the pie together and you are able to comprehend and to say that, hey, this is how much I want, this is how much you get, and we eat this, we enjoy it happily, that will be a better place for everyone. So this is something that I truly believe that you need in order to rise above COVID-19 and other kind of crises. And even not even there's no crisis at all, you will thrive when the time comes. It's just like how Miss Suchi, we collaborated for a short while before COVID-19 circuit breaker kicks in. We were
Yep.
collaborating with one another. I was helping her with some event, and I got some money. She got her money. We got some advertisement, free advertisement, okay, over from this community center and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, we got all this stuff, right? And yeah, this is something that collaboration are doing for us.
Yep.
Okay, so even people who I've collaborated with, like Colin Go, Colin Xiao, we all got a fair share of reward from that collaborations. I've collaborated with Winston Ye. I've collaborated with other people as well, and we got a fair share of rewards. Even though it might not be monetary, it can be the audience, it can be some other things as well. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily have to be just money alone. It can be both money and other things together, or it can be just you know that the the awareness or the branding and etc etc. So yeah, so this is something that I truly believe can help when it comes to being really bringing in humility towards your business and any other things that you're doing.
Okay. Uh, to build off on that point, I actually have one of the Raygacy tribe members recently on my show. It was the
Mhm.
precursor before this one. It was on episode 49,
Okay.
and that is Miss Cindy.
Okay.
She mentioned something on global mindset. So the thing is because both of us have spent Singapore,
Okay.
whereas she has grown up in multiple other countries. So I think this is actually something that builds up on what you mentioned. Because the thing
Yep.
is we humans as a social being tend to stick to a certain mindset on how we are born, on where we are born, sorry, and how we are
Mm-hmm.
raised. So as a result, when others actually does something in a different way than what we are used to doing, we become
Mm-hmm.
extremely competitive on that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I can truly agree on this. Is because we need to collaborate as compared to just trying to tell people to show that we are just the best and everybody is well, everybody picks up the scraps that we have.
Yeah, and this is the
Okay.
generation. Okay,
Uh,
this is the generation where you are actually right. Okay, you are not a Nazi. You are not someone that is just a solo person that's going to conquer the whole world by yourself. Right now, you need a team. You need a people surrounding you. So that's why it is best if you can. Okay, go and find people from the same country that you always wanted to conquer in. Ask them, interview them, and etc. And then at the same time, if possible, collaborate with them, bounce off ideas together, and then go and conquer that country together. That will be
yes,
better.
oh my God, watch my show. Watch my show, you guys. I have people from well, how many countries have I gotten? Okay, I can't remember that. Okay, the record on my show is the person has lived in 12 countries and another person has visited 150 countries. So I can't
Wow.
remember who I can't remember who's who.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's actually we need to understand what other people are thinking, or you have to understand their culture. It's because
Yeah.
when you understand what is it about them, well, you know how they think, and as a result, it eases collaboration.
Yeah.
Not just
Correct.
because they do this differently. You are trying to enforce what you are doing. This doesn't work anymore, guys. All right,
Mm-hmm.
I have two final questions for you. So
Okay.
your last interview, I know who one of the guests that you wanted for your show. He is
Okay.
the very gentleman on my Facebook cover photo, and that is Sir Richard Branson, one of my own personal idols.
Okay.
So the thing is about Sir Branson is that even though he's British, he actually like to apply system that is more
Mm-hmm.
Japanese or
Yeah.
American. In fact, that's how he
Mm-hmm.
like to pay his guys.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think is that in terms of blending Eastern as Western philosophy, we discussed it earlier,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Do
Yeah.
you feel in terms of execution, we need to learn more on how it is in the West? But in terms of our mindset and character wise, we can learn it more from the Eastern philosophy. Why I actually said this is because I guess in the eastern part of the world, we tend to be a little bit more passive in how we act. Is that I mean, one of my past guests who is actually an Asian American, a Singaporean American, I've
Yep.
actually put it as a joke before on the Instagram. Not
Mm-hmm.
all of us Asians ended up as doctors, lawyers, or engineers. And funny
Mm-hmm.
enough, somehow that post actually received a lot more attention than the video itself. I was wondering why, but the thing is
Okay.
that I guess it's something that enough is because the thing is that we are used to following procedures, whereas
Yep.
I guess when we have been exposed to entrepreneurs from the West is that they are more willing to try out the least conventional method, the method that everybody will tell them it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So, do you think this is something that we can learn from the East and Western part of the world, and something that I believe Sir Branson applied on his own system?
Yeah, I mean, like this is definitely what we have to learn, and especially like you look at Grab, look at Spotify, look at how they have grown from nothing to something. Look at Netflix as well. Look at them. They have no records, they have no artists, they are not managing anyone. They are just an entity that is getting from all the other, all the other resources that they have. And this is something that I truly believe in. Like you need to learn how to be way more resourceful than what your peers or whoever that you are always with thinks about, talks about, right? I truly believe like these are the things that we need to learn, and these are the things that will amplify us even more as an individual, as a brand, as a company, and you will go far. You really go far when you go and apply all this stuff and look at all these successful people. Even look at Jack Ma. Let's talk about
Yep.
Jack Ma or Li Ka-shing. Look at them. They are so resourceful, right? They are so averse. They are so trained in their discipline in their value system and etc. And they are so you know they're so brilliant in their executing of their ideas. They do not just wait and procrastinate and procrastinate and procrastinate and procrastinate. They just go and do
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Even though they are Asian, typical Asian culture
Yep.
kind of mindset and all this kind of stuff, they do have some similarities with Western culture as well. They have the same similar mindset on how to apply on this universal law of every successful people, and that is to work on a project, focus on it, and then after that, if it turns out well, continue. If it doesn't turn out well, re-strategize, regroup yourself, re-strategize, and then do again. And then it's just keep doing and doing and doing and doing. So this is something that it is something that it has always been you know
Yep.
this Li Ka-shing, Jack Ma, and all the other successful people have been doing.
Li Ka-shing, if I'm not mistaken, is also a Canadian citizen, right? Along with his Hong Kong citizenship.
Yeah, if
Ah,
I'm not
okay.
wrong.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I guess this is something that he also picked up along the way. The thing is
Hmm.
because I always notice that in the Eastern mind, the thing is that while in the Western world, um, while they are innovative, the thing is that sometimes is what differentiates a success, and of course, well, the one who didn't make it is more on their disciplined mindset. So I guess this is something
Yeah.
that we can pick up along the way.
Correct.
All right. Final question for you, brother. Okay.
Okay.
I want you to imagine back to square one when you are younger, before before any of your past pain happened from 2014. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
you can talk to your younger self. Okay, what
Mm-hmm.
advice or books would you have given it to him? And you can also, this mindset could be something that if let's say you want to give it to an aspiring podcaster or even somebody who could be in the dark times now. The thing is because it's pretty sad to say, but there will be a pending recession coming because, well,
Definitely, there will
yeah,
be.
a lot of
It's
people
already
lost their
happening.
job. Yep.
2 million jobs have been gone just like that
Yep.
in US. Can you imagine the whole entire globe? Let's exclude the Amazon and all this other nomads and all this kind of stuff,
Yeah, I know.
because they don't have a full-time job. Okay, their job is different from all of us in the industrial world and the companies, right? So I truly believe, for myself, when I'm gonna say, hey, 18-year-old Rayson Chu, I'm gonna
You
say
guys
this
want
to
to
you.
get Rayson's age? Go ahead. I'm
Okay,
kidding.
I'm going to say this to you. Okay, I'm going to say this to you, and that's very simple. Okay, first and foremost, you got to know what you want in life. Like go and dream as big as you can, as big as you want. By all means, visualize it, plan it out, pen it down, plan it out, and all. But ultimately, you need to know your why. Like why you want to do this. This is something that you will be guided towards the end of your life. Because if you don't do that, then all the more you will suffer, because all the more you'll be in this whole rat race of life and death, where everyone are just finishing the task at hand, and then after that, they just waiting for the time to slowly tune down for them, and when their heart stops, they're gone. So that's
Yep.
why it is very important for you, 18-year-old Rayson Chu, to go out there and figure out slowly and surely figure out what you really want. Go and try out as much as you want in terms of the good stuff. Okay, I'm not talking about the good stuff in terms of heroin, marijuana, and all this kind of stuff. I'm talking about the good stuff in terms of reading books, watching YouTube videos that are educational, other than watching wrestling for your pastime or soccer for your pastime. But go out there and learn and absorb, especially the good stuff, those high ticket, high income skill sets, high ticket skill set that you can learn and you can implement and then go and do about it. And of course, don't forget, not forgetting patience. You need to have
Yep.
patience and you also need to have some passion, okay, before it becomes a full-blown passion in your job, your schoolwork, in your niche in whatever that you've always wanted. Because some people said that you need to develop the passion before you go and do things. Some people say that you have to do things and develop passion from there, and then from then on you get more results from there because of the results of the money or whatsoever that you gotten from doing that thing, and slowly churn out become a passion. Then go and do that, right? So there are many rules of thumb. There are many philosophies around. Pick those that are user friendly to you, that are usable for you, and just go and do it. And of
Yep.
course, when you meet an obstacle, ask. There's no harm in asking people for help, because when
Yep.
you let ego eat you up, then all the more your life will be in disastrous. Your life will
When
be
you do ask for
disastrous.
the help, really listen to the person because a lot of
Yeah.
time, as what mentioned, say people's ego prevent them from actually applying that advice or accepting that advice because
Yes.
they are stuck with how they have always been thinking, and well, as a result they didn't improve, even though you can have some of the best mentors around the world.
Mhm.
But the thing is that if you don't try to apply it, then there's no use for them there. It's because they can't change you or who you are. They can only impart you based on their own personal wisdom. Sorry, Rayson.
Yeah.
I think I got you accidentally.
No, no, it's okay. So ego is the biggest enemy of your life. And who is your enemy? Not
Yes.
your hater, not the one that dislikes you, not the one who backstabs you and all this whatever not. The biggest enemy that you're going to face is your dark self, your inner self that has always been pulling you down and saying that fear is the biggest thing that you need to have in order to survive. But when you are able to overcome that and you tell yourself that fuck fear, I am going to be way better than fear. I'm going to churn you out and use you as an instrument for me to become stronger and better in life. Then go and do it, because you only have one life to live as you. No one can live as Kelvin, no one can live as Rayson Choo, but only Rayson Choo can live as Rayson Choo. So you're gonna make sure that you make your life a worthwhile, something that's worth living, and go and make full use of it before God or anything that you believe in say, give you a clap and say, good job, right? So
Yep.
go out there and really do it before you regret, because regret is the biggest poison, biggest pain in the ass that you're going to have when you die. So you make sure that you're going to leave this world without regrets, with more joy, more happiness, more legacy before you leave this world. So yeah,
All right.
so this is something that I want to say to my 18-year-old self.
All right. Okay, that's actually the last question for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Before we sign off, I actually want to thank Miss Suchi. Miss Suchi has been really supportive of my show. I've
No
seen her
worries.
quite often nowadays. And along with that, there's somebody who actually wanted to watch, but I think she was unable to make it. She is Miss Phoebe Seo. Phoebe is actually from South Korea. She has been she grew up in different parts of the world. Then at that time, she started watching my show, and of course, I got in touch with her, and yeah, we've been chatting since. And she actually wanted to watch my milestone episode, but she has something on, so she says she will be watching it later. So I hope she enjoyed this.
Oh
Along
wow.
with that, yeah. Along with that, I mentioned there's $10 credit for your StreamYard located in the description box.
Mm-hmm.
And also there are referral links to other rewards like Canva and Airbnb. So along with that, if you guys do want to reach out to Raysons, he is all of his social media is already there. His LinkedIn and of course his Facebook will be tagged in later on.
Yep.
And well, yeah. Rayson, any final thing you want to say?
The final thing that I want to say is you're going to have a brilliant year this year. Take the take this as an opportunity to source out opportunities from a pandemic, from a crisis, and then make full use of this crisis because you not want to have another crisis again, right? You do
Yeah.
not want to wait for another crisis to find opportunities. Take this opportunity to find opportunity within this crisis right now because can you imagine if your life is your last day is this day or your last day is within this year? Man,
Yep.
there's so many things that you need to do and you got to do, and that's why you need to really go out there and do it. And even if there's one person that you want to say sorry to, or there's someone that you want to, want to reconcile with, that you want to catch up with, go ahead.
Yep.
Because who knows, that person is going to be
Yep.
the one who's suffering from COVID-19, cancer, HIV, or whatsoever, Ebola, or whatever crises that are that's so not focused in the newspaper, but it's happening around the world, right? So you need to
Yep.
really go and, be grateful, be open, and be opportunistic. Then this life will not be a waste of
All right.
time. Yeah.
Nice word, brother.
Oh, thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. The next episode of Global Citizens is actually next Tuesday. It's around 8 a.m. Singapore time. Don't worry, guys. It's Facebook Live, but the thing is, it will be on my Facebook page. It will be on my Global Citizens page, so you guys can watch it. Okay, I am the only one who has to be up super early since
Hmm.
this is my show. But what to do? Okay. Other than that, I need to thank Rayson for being on the show today. But not only that, I mentioned him several times on my show. So now he actually make an appearance as a guest
Yep.
because I've never denied it. I don't need to deny it. He was somebody who was he he was the one who inspired the creation of the show. He was the one who told me about it, and well, I created my own style, but that doesn't mean that I have to have any kind of unnecessary competition, as he
Hmm.
mentioned. The thing is that we actually maintain contacts. We are friends, and in fact, I'm actually part of the Raygacy Telegram page, and we talk quite often.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
this is actually something that we can apply to in our everyday life, whether
Hmm.
you are trying to do broadcasting like this, or even in your everyday life. All right.
Yep.
And with that, that's the end of the milestone episode 50 of Global Citizens. Again, thanks, Rayson, for coming in. And
Yeah. Welcome.
yeah, all right, I will end the broadcast now. Bye, guys.
Okay. Bye bye. See you.